Gil Martin here, and welcome everybody to the Daily Packers Post, where we bring you in-depth daily coverage of your Green Bay Packers. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button so you never miss an episode, and you can check out our website at thepackerspost.com. Today we begin a series of videos that will grade the Packers position group by position group for the entire 2024 season. Now, keep in mind, this is a grade for the position group. So we are not just grading, for example, today we're going to do quarterbacks. We are not just grading Jordan Love and not just grading Malik Willis. We're going to discuss all the players, but we are not giving them each an individual grade. We're going to give them a grade as a position group. So keep that in mind. And again, feel free to comment as to what you feel each position group deserves. And we are going to do each day one more position group until we've gone through all of the positions. So we are starting with quarterback. And look, this was an interesting year for the Packers quarterbacks. The obvious first problem is that Jordan Love got injured in week 1 and missed 2 full games, parts of 2 others due to an assortment of different injuries. He still managed to play in 15 games, completed 63.1% of his passes, threw 25 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Only one of those interceptions, keep in mind, came after the bye week. And his quarterback rating was 96.7. With Love, I think we saw a lot of growth, but still that he has more growth to go. Jordan Love has, really good arm strength. He can make all the throws, even the most difficult throws in a playbook. So he can certainly do that. He seems to see the field well most of the time, but there are still situations where he struggles to read defenses, and hopefully with a little more experience and if he can stay healthy, he will improve in that area. Throughout the season, there seemed to be, and I think the injuries did play a role in this, a reluctance to scramble and run with the football. He only ran 25 times for 83 yards this year, and he seemed to hesitate at times. Hold on to the ball, try to throw it downfield a little bit more often than he should. When, if he were fully healthy, and I think what in 2023, he would have just tucked the ball down, run with it, picked up, 2, 5, 8 yards, 10 yards, whatever it is. And, you figure it's better to come up 2nd and 5 than it is to come up, 2nd and 18 if you take a sack, or 2nd and 10 if you throw an incompletion. So the reluctance, I hope, is related to the injuries, and that next year, when fully healthy, he will go back to running the football when he needs to do it. Now, in the first half of the season, we saw Love trying to force the ball downfield a little more often than perhaps he should have. He seemed to be, trying to hit a home run more often instead of taking what the defense gave him. After the bye week, Matt LaFleur kind of pulled him back a little bit. And yet, I think he may have gotten a little too conservative in the second half of the season. So we didn't see the mistakes that we saw, the 10 interceptions that he threw in the first half of the year, but we didn't see as many of the big plays as well. And I guess you can go back to, for example, Jaden Reed and look at how many downfield throws he was getting in the first half of the year. And then in the second half of the year, how that tailed off. And Reed is just, I'm using him as an example. It wasn't just Jaden Reed who was involved. What Matt LaFleur and the coaching staff need to work on with Jordan Love, or have Jordan Love work on over the offseason, is to figure out that sweet spot between trying for a splash play and always taking a check down. The calculated risk is really sort of what we're looking for from Jordan Love. It's wisdom, knowing when to gamble and when to play it safe. And that comes with experience. He will be in his third year as a starter in 2025. And hopefully, the result of that experience will be there. Again, I think Love, his decision making got a little better as the season went on. His arm strength is unquestioned. He is a good leader. I think the team, believes in him and rallies around him. You did hear Matt LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst mentioning that they would like Love to be a little bit more of a vocal leader. Again, I think that will come with experience. Hopefully, it is part of his personality. But again, we have to see how that all plays out. So I think Love had a solid but not spectacular season. I think injuries definitely impeded him. But overall, progress was made, growth was made, maybe not as much as we wanted, but we'll see, year two for a lot of quarterbacks. If you remember in our previous video where we contrasted Love, Favre, and Rodgers in their second season as starters, Brett Favre led the NFL in interceptions in year two. Cut that number down drastically in year three. So let's see how Love continues to develop as a starter. The backup over the course of the year was Malik Willis. And I have to say, Willis was one of the biggest pleasant surprises for the Packers over the course of the season. He played in 7 games, started 2, came off the bench in 2 more for, some serious action, and led the team to a victory in one of those. He completed 74% of his passes, had 3 touchdowns, did not throw an interception, and had an impressive quarterback rating, again, in only 54 attempts, but he had an impressive quarterback rating of 124.8. He is also a threat to run the football. In fact, in 20 carries, he had 138 yards. That's 6.9 yards per rush. And he, in 5 fewer carries, gained 45 more yards than Jordan Love. Now, again, Jordan Love, healthy, probably closes that gap a little bit. Willis has a lot of arm strength, showed a little touch as well. Again, it's a small sample size, but I think what Willis really did was resurrect his career after a few struggling years in Tennessee where he was probably put into action far too soon. He went from being the quarterback of the future to third on the depth chart, comes to Green Bay, plays really well, was 2-0 as a starter, responsible for 3 wins this season. And I think he now is somebody who, the Packers might even be able to trade him and get something in return. I would not recommend them doing that. I think, he's under contract at a very reasonable rate. He has 1 more year left on that rookie contract. I would bring him back, let him develop, and then see where you go from there. But overall, Malik Willis, a very pleasant surprise. Now, Matt LaFleur did have to change the offense for Willis, but to his credit, he did. His play calling when Willis was the starter was really, really smart and very effective. And Willis executed very well in addition to the play call. So that was encouraging. During the preseason, we had a battle between 7th round draft pick Michael Pratt and Sean Clifford. They were originally battling to be the backups. Pratt was let go. He ended up on the Buccaneers practice squad, so he was not a factor. Sean Clifford essentially ended up spending his second NFL season on the practice squad, was elevated for the playoff game, but did not play. And, Sean Clifford will probably be back to fight for either a roster spot or a practice squad spot in 2025. So overall, I gave the quarterbacks a B grade for the season. I think Malik Willis was outstanding. I think Jordan Love was good since Love played the vast majority of the snaps. His grade is more close to the final grade for the position. The good news is I think Love still has the potential to get better. I know Willis does, depending on, how he does during this offseason and into training camp next year. So I think the Packers are solid set at this position. I know Brian Gutekunst has indicated he will draft a quarterback probably on day 3 very often in the next few years. We'll see if he holds to that. He did it this year with Pratt in the 7th round, but a solid B grade, and year 3, a kind of an important year in the development of Jordan Love to see whether he goes from a really good quarterback to an elite quarterback, or whether he remains somewhere in the 8 to 15 range when you're ranking quarterbacks in the league. Don't forget to check out our website at thepackerspost.com. Subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the bell so you get new episodes of the Daily Packers Post as soon as they drop. I'm Gil Martin. Thanks so much for joining us today. Stay safe, everybody, and of course, go Pack Go.